Abraham Lincoln once said, "If you give me 6 hours to cut down a tree, I'll take the first hour and I'll sharpen my axe." You know, when we think about being sharpened, we think about a lot of the things that we need to be sharp. If we go out to mow the grass, we don't want to have a lawnmower with blades that are unsharp. If we're cutting vegetables, we don't want our tools to be unsharp. Unsharp tools cause us a lot more work and a lot of aggravation. Unfortunately, we understand that when it comes to sharpening our axe or using something that needs to be sharp, but we don't think about it when we think about our spiritual sharpness. A lot of times we let ourselves get dull. We don't really take the necessary steps to become sharp. You know, one of the greatest partnerships in the Bible was with Timothy and Paul. Paul mentored Timothy. Paul spent an incredible amount of time with Timothy. Throughout Timothy's life, he was encouraging him and mentoring him because he saw the potential in Timothy to be a leader of the church. Paul continued to pour into Timothy over the years. Listen to what Paul said to Timothy. Paul says to Timothy, "Discipline yourself for the purpose of godliness, for bodily discipline is only of little profit, but godliness is profitable for all things, since it holds a promise for the present life and also the life to come." A little further down in the same chapter, Paul tells Timothy, "Let no one look down on you for your youthfulness, but rather in speech, conduct, love, faith, and purity, show yourself to be an example of those who believe." 4 years after the first letter to Timothy, Paul writes another letter. This time he's in prison. He's sitting in a dark prison, and he writes to Timothy to encourage him, to tell him to persevere even when times get tough. Later, Timothy would be put in prison also because of his faith and because of his witness for Christ. But Paul knew that encouragement that Timothy needed. In fact, during the time that Paul was imprisoned, Nero was the emperor in Rome. And Rome had been almost burnt to the ground. Nero charged the Christians with the fire. They were the scapegoats. So great persecution was being unleashed on Christians during that time. But Paul, through his incredible encouragement, Timothy is able to go on and continue to lead the church. Every single one of us needs a Paul in our life, and we need a Timothy in our life. Somebody that can sharpen us and somebody that we can sharpen. When I was younger, I used to play a lot of hockey, and we had games just about every week. What you'd find out is over the course of several games, your skates would become dull, and you'd have to get them sharpened. I remember one time I was getting ready for a big game, and I get to the rink, and I realized my skates are really dull. So I took them home. My dad said that he could sharpen them on his grinder. He puts my skates on the grinder and he sharpens them, and they felt sharp. We thought they were good. But as soon as I got on the ice, I knew I was in trouble. The skates had been sharpened, but they didn't get hollowed on the blade. So I couldn't skate. I couldn't turn. I couldn't control myself. I was completely useless to my teammates. You know, if we're not being sharpened, if our spiritual walk isn't being encouraged by others, if we don't have others in our life that are spurring us on in the faith, then we not only become dull, sometimes we become useless to Christ's goal. So how do we become sharp? We need to surround ourselves with other Christians. One of the steps that you've taken is you're starting to walk along some other believers in this life group that you're in. You go to church, you spend time, and when we spend time with the right people, we become sharp. Proverbs 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another." We need to have people in our lives that sharpen us. Now, after I put on the skates and I saw that I couldn't skate with them, I went to a professional sharpener. He sharpened my blades and I was able to get back on the ice again. But he said what he had to do is he had to go back and rub off all the grinding work that my dad had done on the skates. When we don't surround ourselves with the right people, we not only become dull, but that rubs off on us. Another proverb, Proverbs 13:20 tells us, walk with the wise and become wise, but the companionship of fools suffers harm. You know, when you're in a group with other believers that are like-minded with you, that are raising their kids the way that you want your kids to be raised, that are spending time with you and you travel on a journey with them, that rubs off on you the right way. You know, we all have good intentions. We all want to do what's right. We all want to do what's best. But it's not our intentions that get us to where we're supposed to go. It's not good intentions. Our destination is by who we surround ourselves with, who we spend time with. Because the good people that rub off on us are good for us, but bad people that we don't need to be around also rub off on us in a negative way. As you kind of survey, as you think about the people that you're spending time with, wouldn't it be great if you would pick somebody to be your Paul? Somebody that you know is going to sharpen you, somebody that you know is going to encourage you along in the faith. And wouldn't it be great if you find a Timothy, somebody that's not quite where you are on their spiritual journey yet, and you would spend time developing and sharpening them, encouraging them and helping them in their faith journey. You know, a lot of times we look back and over the course of our story and over the course of what God does in our life, we can think of key people that played incredible roles in our life. Hey, so a great challenge for you to find somebody that is going to sharpen you, for you to find somebody that you can help sharpen, somebody that might not be as far along as you on their spiritual journey, somebody that needs some encouragement, somebody that needs to grow in their faith journey. Wouldn't it be great for each one of us to find a Paul and to find a Timothy? Hey, have a great week. Make sure you step up to the challenge, because a dull tool is of no good to anybody.